Once upon a time, in the vibrant town of Ilu-Ayo, where the Harmattan wind whispered secrets through dusty streets, there lived a woman of ethereal beauty named Aisha. Her skin was like polished ebony, and her laughter a melody that could brighten the darkest of days. She ran a small, struggling fabric shop, a cherished legacy from her late mother, and her only joy was her impending marriage to Demola, a kind and hardworking mechanic whose love was as steadfast as the morning sun. But Ilu-Ayo was not just a town of simple joys. It was a place where ancient traditions held sway and the veil between the living and the spiritual was thin. And watching Aisha, with eyes that held the chilling glint of avarice, was Madam Kofo, the richest woman in Ilu-Ayo. Her wealth was rumored to have been acquired through questionable means, whispered dealings in the dark corners of traditional rituals. Madam Kofo was accustomed to having whatever she desired, and now her desire had settled upon Demola. Not out of love, but out of a twisted need to possess, to control, and to solidify her status as the ultimate power broker in the town. The first hint of trouble came subtly. A precious piece of silk, intended for Aisha's wedding dress, vanished from her shop only to reappear, miraculously, at Madam Kofo's mansion. Then, strange things began to happen around Demola. His tools would disappear, only to be found bent and broken. His workshop, usually bustling, suddenly saw a drastic decline in customers, their cars mysteriously developing unfixable faults. Doubt, a venomous serpent, began to slither into Demola's heart. Aisha, heartbroken and confused, sought the counsel of her wise old aunt, Mama Ayabo, a woman whose eyes held the wisdom of generations. Mama Ayabo, sensing a dark hand at play, led Aisha to the revered Baba Ojinate, the town's spiritual elder. He delivered a chilling pronouncement: a powerful hand seeks to sever what the spirits have joined. A dark sacrifice has been offered, and its shadow falls upon your love. Be wary, child, for the spirit of Oregon has been invoked. The drama escalated with lightning speed. Madam Kofo, now openly pursuing Demola, showered him with extravagant gifts, a brand new workshop, a sleek car, and promises of a life of unimaginable luxury. Demola, his spirit weakened by the relentless misfortunes and the seductive allure of wealth, began to waver. Aisha's pleas and tears seemed to bounce off a wall of indifference, and the community, swayed by Madam Kofo's influence, began to see Aisha as the unlucky one, the obstacle to Demola's destined wealth. In a dramatic confrontation at the town square during the annual Harvest of Unity Festival, Madam Kofo, resplendent in gold lace, publicly declared her intentions towards Demola. Aisha, her heart shattered, watched as Demola, torn between his past love and his newfound opportunities, hesitated. The crowd held its breath. It was then that Mama Ayabo, guided by an ancestral vision, stepped forward. She revealed Madam Kofo's dark secret. Years ago, she had sacrificed her own spiritual essence to Oregon for wealth. The evidence lay within an amulet she'd retrieved from Madam Kofo's shrine after an intense spiritual battle. The amulet pulsed with a malevolent energy. Madam Kofo, her composure finally cracking, let out a piercing shriek. The spirit of Oregon, disturbed by the exposure of its dealings, manifested in a terrifying spectral form, its shadowy tendrils reaching for Madam Kofo, who writhed on the ground as if possessed. Baba Ojinate, his face stern and resolute, began to chant, invoking the spirits of protection and light. Aisha, despite her fear, joined him, her voice strong and clear. Together, their combined spiritual energy created a barrier against Oregon. The spirit shrieked, a sound of pure agony, as it was forced back, its hold on Madam Kofo and the town weakening. In the aftermath, Madam Kofo was stripped of her power, her wealth evaporating as quickly as it had appeared. Demola, finally freed from the spiritual manipulation, fell to his knees, begging Aisha for forgiveness. He had been blinded, ensnared by forces beyond his understanding. The final scene took place months later. Aisha and Demola, their love tested and refined by fire, stood before their community, not for a lavish wedding, but for a simple, heartfelt ceremony. They had rebuilt Demola's workshop with honesty and hard work. Aisha's fabric shop thrived, a beacon of hope and resilience. Mama Ayabo smiled, her eyes twinkling, while Baba Ojined nodded, a quiet acknowledgement of the balance restored. The harmattan wind still blew through Ilu-Ayo, but now it carried not omens of discord, but the sweet scent of peace and the enduring strength of a love that had defied even the darkest of spirits. So, what's the moral of this story? The story of Aisha and Demola teaches us that true worth isn't found in riches or power, but in the honesty of your heart and the integrity of your spirit. It's a reminder that a life built on greed and spiritual corruption, like Madam Kofo's, is ultimately destined to crumble. In the end, it's the strength of genuine love and unwavering faith that can overcome even the darkest forces and lead to a happiness that no amount of money can buy.